Welcome back to Let's Talk About It. It is good to be here tonight. We have some guests with us. Our guests tonight are
Kirsten Rich,
Alexa Escamilla.
Yeah, and we have Aiden with us too tonight. So we're excited for this. And tonight's topic is about music, but it's about very specific kinds of music. And what seems to be, and this will be an interesting question to kind of get into too, what seems to be a rivalry in music. Country music versus rap music. All right. Well, let's go ahead and just start with that then. Is there a rivalry between the two? Yes or no? Is there a rivalry? Let us know.
Yes.
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 And why do you say yes? It was a unanimous yes up here. Why is it a yes?
I feel like they're very two popular types of music choices that I feel like everyone listens to at one point in their life, rather than like rock music or any other type of music.
I think that the stereotypes that are like associated with the two are very different. So that kind of puts up like a front line of, okay, let's make the two rivals.
Interesting. Okay, Aiden, any thoughts on this?
I think I'd have to agree with that. I think that since it's so far spread apart, that there has to be some type of rivalry there because they're trying to draw in people to both categories.
Interesting. Okay, so there's some natural divide that happens because of the types, I guess, or stereotypes that created out of it, maybe. Now, here's my question, though, because here's what I notice is there seems to be a blend, though, or people that listen to both. A lot of people listen to both. So why do you think that is? There's this thing that's like, this seems like this natural pick a side, pick a Democrat or a Republic, pick country or rap. But there's plenty of people that listen to both of them. Why do you think that is?
Depends on your mood. I mean,
sure.
like for me, let's say I'm in like a crying mood and I just want to pour my heart out. I'll listen to country, but if I'm like mad or I'm getting like hyped up for a basketball game, like of course I'm going to listen to rap and definitely not country for that.
Okay, we've got to unpack what you just talked about. Okay, so explain to us that. So let's start with country music. So you mentioned a number of reasons why you would listen to country music. What were those reasons?
If I want to like cry or if like, I don't know, like I'm driving on the highway, open my sunroof. It's like a chill day. Like, you listen to country music.
Just
You don't really
cruising.
listen to like rap when you do that.
So why is that though? Why do you feel like there's no cruising rap music?
No.
No.
It's just
No.
calm.
Yeah, it's just very calming. It's relaxing. And like whenever I wake up in the morning and I drive to school, I don't listen to rap music. I listen to country music because it's too early. Like you just can't.
My thing with that is, so say I'm waking up super early in the morning and I need someone to like wake me up, like for like a workout or something, I will listen to rap to wake me up. But then on my way home from workout, I will listen to country to kind of like
Interesting.
ease me back into the mood. And then driving back to school, I'll listen to country. It kind of, I don't know, they definitely put off different moods, different vibes.
Okay, this is interesting. I like this moods vibe conversation. So you're going for different moods, different vibes. So how would you summarize the moods that you're searching for when it comes to country music?
Happy, soulful. You can have like sad.
And we'll unpack that in a second. It's interesting because Campos here said, country music is for the soul. So it's kind of something you mentioned there. So kind of thinking about that too. Well, let's go ahead and get into the sad thing. Because I've even told people, like I had a student, I'm not kidding you, the different advice that people come to their youth pastor for. They said, hey, I really like, because they know I like Brad Paisley. I'm a big fan of Brad Paisley.
we know.
Not typically his stuff that gets played on the radio, more stuff that's on his albums, kind of deeper into it. But he was saying, hey, what Brad Paisley song should I listen to? And so I said, okay, I'm going to send you a list of them, but I'm going to put another list together of great songs, but don't listen to them after a breakup.
That is
Because
true.
country music is easily the worst
For
when it comes
breakups.
to breakups.
It's because you can nitpick every word. You're like, oh, that relates to me. Oh, that relates to me. And you can nitpick every word of a country song.
It doesn't even have to relate to you. It could be about a bitter, awful divorce and you just broke up with somebody.
Yeah.
And it's like, why? So why do you think that is to you? Why do you still listen to that though? Like when you want to be sad or when you're after a breakup, why do you still turn to it even though you know what it's going to do?
It gets your emotions out. It helps you with that. I mean, that's something that's helped me. Like when I went through a breakup, for a day, I cried about it. I cried about it when I listened to country music and it helped me, I guess. So
No, I like that. So you're touching on something like it all of a sudden understands you somehow.
Oh, for sure.
Or helps give you those words and those opportunity to feel. Alexa, what were you going to say with that?
Not necessarily like, I don't know. I just think like, as I said a minute ago, how every word of a country song, like when you're feeling a certain type of way, you find out how it relates to you, whether you can be happy, sad, like upset about a breakup, whatever, it finds a way to relate to you when you're feeling that type of mood. So like if you're about to turn on a song because you're feeling like screaming or because you're mad or whatever, that's going to relate to you and you're going to nitpick every word of that song because you're like, oh yeah, this is going to be my jam right now. And I feel like you could do that honestly with country or rap.
Oh, okay, good. Okay. So maybe we need to go ahead and make that transition too. We talked about the moods or the things that get us into the moods or the certain vibes.
Brady
with country.
Minor.
What? Hey, Brady. Thanks for joining us.
Brady Minor.
And I see Patton Baxter came in and Bryce came in. Thanks for joining us. C. Alessandra came in.
Alessandra.
W. Cass came in. Thank you guys for joining us tonight for sure. We were talking about country music and rap music and why we listen to certain ones. We kind of came to this place of moods or vibes. So country music was joy, chill, soulful, sad, breakups. What are the moods you're chasing for when you listen to rap music?
Hype you up.
Hype.
Hype for what? Or hype
Is
how?
there's sad rap? I don't
There's
know.
sad
there
rap.
is sad
There's
rap.
definitely sad
There's
rap.
sad rap, right?
There's also like angry rap because they make like diss tracks and stuff and they can like roast you, I guess.
And there's like, I feel like there's a bunch of different categories of rap. I feel like there's like
Yeah.
the
Definitely.
cliche rap that sounds like every other song out there.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's like okay, let's get you hype rap. And I definitely feel like there's like the sad rap. You listen to that, you know, dang, that's rough. I don't know. I feel like there's all sorts of different
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
vibes of rap too.
I feel like all rap songs tell a story.
Interesting.
opinion. I
Because
think
I
they
would
all
say
have a
the same
story.
thing about country. So
I
that's
would-
interesting
Yeah,
you'd say
they
that.
both do. They definitely both
Oh,
do.
interesting. Okay, so we're starting to see some lines crossing, and we'll get to that in a second for sure. But like, keep going along with rap because, like, honestly, like for me, like when I was in middle school, like Nelly was the jam. So like, I listened to a lot of Nelly when I was in middle school, but I haven't really expanded upon that. I mean, Eminem was huge when I was in middle school, but like I didn't really listen to a whole lot of Eminem, things like that. So keep going with some of these vibes and like how they help you get to some of these vibes. So you said hype. You said some of the same things as country music, the sad, the story. What were some of the other ones that get you there, and how do they get you there? Or angry. Angry was one of them that was interesting. So when you're angry, you listen to rap music.
Yeah.
And so why? There's that why too.
I think a lot of it has, like, for me at least, whenever I listen to rap music, I listen to like the actual music. I don't listen to the words and stuff like that. Like I almost zone out when I'm listening to it. It's kind of
Interesting.
weird
Okay.
because like whenever I'm working out, I'm not like paying attention to the lyrics. I'm just like I'm going.
So you're looking for something upbeat,
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
that's going to carry you up, or kind of Okay.
Whereas like country, it's like kind of the opposite. It's more of a slower in certain songs, especially like a sad song. It can be like a slower kind of.
And it's interesting though, because you mentioned you don't listen to the words, but there's been plenty of people that I've like pointed out with country songs and said like, do you hear yourself? Do you hear what you're singing? And they're like, no, what are you talking about? So I'll go ahead and cross this line right into it. So like, there's a song, I think I've even brought it up before, Luke Bryan. I'm not a big Luke Bryan guy. Okay. I like me some country music, not a lot of Luke Bryan. And he lost it for me on the song Shake It. And I think I brought it up. I think I brought it up on this show before already, but like, or on this podcast before. And it was, he was singing it. Like I just watched Carrie Underwood like kill it on some show. And then he gets up there and he is into it, serious. Like the look on his face is so serious. But then you start listening to what he's saying. And he's talking about shaking it, which we all know what that means. But who is he talking about shaking it for? Do you know these lyrics?
Wait, from like what part?
Like who are the different like the I want to be
People
called
involved.
people.
Like now dance like a dandy? Not that part.
Shake it for the moon, shake it for the trees, shake it for the catfish swimming down deep in the creek, for the crickets and
In
the
the-
critters and the squirrels.
Oh.
Yeah,
Shake it to the moon.
shake it
Shake
for
it
me.
for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Country.
Yeah,
girl,
and so I
shake
had
it
to kind
for
of
me.
unpack that for some guys one time. Some high school guys were sitting there and I was explaining this. I said, guys, if you ever see a girl well, one, shaking it. We don't need to get into that. But if she's shaking it for squirrels and critters, run. Like, go the other direction.
Run, Forrest,
Go the
run.
other direction. Like, there's problems going on. You know what I mean? So, like, when you really dive into the lyrics. But, okay, so this is getting into what, so we kind of said there's some cross things kind of happening. One of the questions we put in our Instagram story before we had this is, which one's more inappropriate? And so, Alexa, you actually talked about, at first you had one reaction and then you stopped to think. So talk us through that.
So I definitely automatically first thought rap. I was like, oh no, rap's all about like sex, murder, drugs, all that stuff. But then I was like, oh wait. I mean, if we're talking about like Big Green Tractor, like,
Yeah.
I mean, they definitely do cross some of the same lines. They talk about different bad things. Like country talks about like a lot of like alcoholism and like a lot of not doing or not the nicest way to talk to girls. A lot of sex.
A whole lot of sex.
Which also rap does. Country usually doesn't talk about drugs as much. I'm
Yes.
sure there's some. But one thing, I don't think country really ever talks about murder. Talk about death, which is sad. So I guess that's like a sad correlation. But I don't really think country talks about murder.
Yeah.
So like trying to...
So
when
it's
you think about, they're both
interesting.
bad things. I don't
No,
know.
it's fascinating. So, like, no country doesn't talk about murder. It definitely talks about prison or being in prison and
Yeah.
things like that, or I went away for something. But that's the interesting thing is rap, it kind of hits you in the face what they're talking about, and it doesn't surprise you. With country songs, you have to sit there and think. So some of you right now just had Big Green Tractor ruined for you because you're like, wait, it's not about like crawling up in a tractor.
Nope.
and
No,
going
it's not.
fast on the tractor and then going slow on the tractor, because like that sounds like just a really nice date. Like, no.
Sorry to rain on your parade, but that's not what it means.
And so I know a lot of our students too got kind of surprised whenever like we were going to work camp, and I told you guys about this a little bit before we started, but we went to work camp and they were playing songs and I was like, next, and they're like, Pastor Lee, why are you skipping this? This is country music. I was like, listen to the lyrics, guys. You have no idea what these songs are about till you listen to the lyrics. And one of the examples was Wild Horses. So it was popular that summer. That was 2 summers ago. And everybody, it's such a great song. It's such a wonderful song. I was like, do y'all hear what they're saying? They are not talking about a bunch of Mustangs running out on the prairie right now. They're talking about something a lot different than that. So country all of a sudden makes some of this stuff sound nice. Like, you know, when it comes to sex or alcohol and stuff like that.
Well, it's
Allie-
because
oh, go ahead.
you got it. Go ahead.
Talk over Allie. Allie just made a good point. She said maybe the stereotypes with country music comes because cowboys are known as like the good guys, or like girls want like a good country boy because they're raised to be like respectful, godly men, which is like a really good stereotype. Definitely agree.
So yeah, but that's
I've also
what's
met a lot of
interesting
cowboys
is
that are not like that.
right. Okay,
I met a lot of cowboys that
that
are nothing like that, and I can promise you that. Yes, their stereotype is they're raised to be good, godly men, but I promise you right now they are all not like that.
There you go.
And I think that's where a lot of like what they're saying in the songs comes from, for sure.
Exactly. No, that's where you start listening to all these ones that are a lot about sex, a lot about alcohol, things like that. It's very much like but it's kind of masked behind this good country boy type perspective. Again, Luke Bryan, good dude, you know, married, faithful, all that stuff. But he's, you know, all these different songs are like, what is he singing about? You know, different things like that. Or even I remember like a couple years ago when all the middle schoolers wanted to sing the song Tequila. And I was like, you know what this is about, right? And they're like, but it's so pretty. It sounds great. And I was like, okay. Well,
I think
Mosman's in here.
I think rap
Thank you,
definitely
Mosman.
has like a bad connotation with it though.
Oh yeah.
Like I feel like it gets a bad rap because, you know, everybody thinks of it as a bad thing because
Well,
of the lyrics.
And let's go ahead and cross that line though too. Though I think it gets a bad reputation because of people that typically produce it, right? The African American community, and so different stereotypes that happen with that too. Which Clayton's not here. We could talk about. We told Clayton that we're never talking about racism with Clayton in the room because Clayton will say things just to make people angry or get him excited. We're like, no,
Yeah.
but like that's a piece of it. So that's interesting though too, is we talked about country is good, godly. Growing up. Now, I grew up in Warner Robins, Georgia. I went to a school where about 50 to 70% were free or reduced lunch. So we had a big, I mean, most of my football team is African American. And so, like, I went to church with them sometimes. they're very faithful boys. You know what I mean? So it's a very
yeah.
faithful community there too. So it's interesting that on both sides of this fence, it's actually the same thing, just really, really different. Well, let's go ahead and talk the faith piece too. That was another question we asked. So which genre is best about communicating things of faith or talking about Jesus? What do you guys think?
Both.
I think both. Both.
Yeah.
They have weird ways of showing it. I think both have weird ways of showing it, but both.
Yeah.
I think I would definitely have to agree. Even
right.
though rap doesn't seem like it, but I think you can definitely find it in both for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So go ahead and let's talk about how rap has a different way. Is that what you just said? So go ahead and talk about that.
Well, in like country music, it's very easy to understand what they're saying in the lyrics. Like obviously sometimes you have to look deeper into the meaning, but you can hear the lyrics a little bit better because sometimes in rap they're just rapping. It's hard to hear them sometimes. Hard to understand what they're saying because they're going either too fast or just the way that they're talking. And so I feel like sometimes we kind of get caught up in, oh, it's just rap. There's no way that they could be talking about God or faith or anything like that. But in country, you can for sure hear it when they talk about it. And so.
Gotcha. And I know we had a comment here about rap is really people who had a rough past and they rap about it. So there's a piece of it then that kind of connects to this thing of faith of rap kind of has this real piece to it, which we got into a little bit last time too, of just the realness is kind of where it hits you. And it really, every one of these songs is tapping into something real, whether it's country or rap. And that's kind of why it can get you sometimes. But it's interesting then too, because faith a lot of times will respond out of that realness too. And we talked about like, well, you guys can help us out. When you think of rap songs about faith, what songs come to mind or what artists come to mind? And we had one that definitely stood out to us, which was
That entire Kanye album.
the Kanye album, which like I had professors from seminary tweeting about this album. Okay. So old men who'd been teaching at the seminary for 40 years talking
Starting to listen to Kanye.
talking about how cool the theology of Kanye's album was, how spot on Orthodox Christian it was, which was kind of fascinating, right? And I brought up a song that these guys hadn't heard, but Jesus Rocks was about 5 years ago that Kanye had done too. So it definitely stands out there. And then the biggest Christian rapper that kind of gets thrown out there is Lecrae. Yeah, it definitely does a lot of cool stuff too. Toby Mac for sure does his own kind of rap at different places. Thank you for bringing that up. Danny Durrett, thank you for joining us. Great to see you. And so country music then. When you think of country music, when you think of faith, what comes to mind?
I think of the songs like, I thought of this one and I don't really know how to take it. The song Beer with Jesus. Like the song that goes, if I could have a beer with Jesus.
Oh, I think I've heard that one.
So I was thinking about this earlier. I was like, I think the difference between bringing up faith in country and rap song is I think country tries to put it in and look for more of a melody. Beer with Jesus, and also the song that came to mind, like the song If Heaven Wasn't So Far Away.
Oh, sure.
That song, it has a lot of good points, but I kind of just think a lot of it is just like flow with the melody. And what's that Carrie Underwood song where she like goes down by the river and gets baptized?
Oh, I was going Jesus Take the Wheel. Sorry.
That one too. Something in the Water.
Something in the Water.
And so I feel like all these songs have in common, they're really good like stories of like faith and Jesus, but a lot of them kind of just like go for the melody and go to what words rhyme. Rap doesn't do that when they're talking about faith. That's one big thing.
Because we got a number of names. They dropped some names in here for rap too. So NF, do you guys know NF?
No.
Or Dax?
Nope.
A lot of people drop. So we have research to do is what we're learning about ourselves.
I know NF. I've never heard Dax.
Seth mentioned Andy.
Andy Mineo. Saw him live. Best.
Yeah. Okay, so that's some good pieces too. Well, so you brought up something though too, Alexa. You brought out a song that kind of is interesting. How country music sometimes, for me, hits the nail on the head, and then also seems to cross a line, and I don't know how I feel about it. So, like for instance, like Beer with Jesus, I haven't heard it, but I'm nervous.
It says, "If I could have a beer with Jesus, heaven knows I'd sip it nice and slow."
Which is great, but I don't know the rest of the song. But like, for instance, like I know, what was Miranda Lambert had a lyric. I know Jesus, he drank wine, so he's almost like used in a way to kind of defend
Drinking.
Yeah. Which again, there's no problem with drinking, but it's people that will do that like falling over saying
Yeah.
Jesus drank wine. So there's a level of ignorance that can be bought into it too, versus like, I don't know, I think of some other ones, like you mentioned some heaven stuff. Well, that you have heaven wasn't so far away, and then you have if heaven ain't a lot like Dixie, right?
Yeah.
So you have two extremes.
I think it's
here.
just as always, and how Kirsten said earlier, and also kind of going back to Allie's comment, how a lot of country songs come from how these usually male country artists are raised as like good old Southern boys. And so I think how they put it into their songs is like, okay, this is my roots, how I was raised, and so let's put it into a song, but it's not always portrayed in the right way. Yeah. If we're looking at it
Interesting.
from like a good Christian standpoint.
I feel like you're diving into something that's kind of fun, and I kind of want to explore that a little bit as we get toward this. So, like, how would you describe the way they put it in there? Does that make sense?
Surface level.
Oh, yes. Okay. So, that's so fascinating to me. Like, because to me, this is like a deeper piece. So, like, it's almost surface level, and so it lands with a whole lot of people. And how does it land with them? Surface level. You know what I mean? So there's almost like, oh, that's good but then I would imagine the rap songs that you can think of, I'm going to imagine it's not surface level when it's dropped in there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of fascinating. And then you definitely have the other extreme too in country music, because I like Brad Paisley, and he does a great job of like, he'll do hymns. He'll do outright hymns on his albums. Of course he did When I Get Where I'm Going with Dolly Parton. That was huge when it came out. There's different pieces like that where he will dive deep into faith and questions of faith and stuff I still love listening to. And you have other, like Josh Turner has a great song called Me and God. It's very corny, but it's very good, in the way that it kind of communicates. It comes from a deeper place. So with all these places, you can see where it's kind of deep and where it's kind of going a little bit further too. So it's kind of interesting. Hey, Carla, I just saw that you came in here too.
Hey.
Hi, Carla.
the whole fam's here.
The whole thing. So where are you guys landing with this country versus rap stuff? What are you learning? What are you hearing? What are you noticing?
I feel like you can definitely see why there's such a competition between the two. Because even though it doesn't seem similar, there's a lot of similarities between the two, But
What similarities are you noticing? Just as we kind of,
I mean, we're talking about how we were talking about like alcohol and stuff like that, and just doing wrong things and sex and all, basic human stuff, Every song is going to have it, whether it's country, rap, whatever it is, it's going to have it. But it's the way that it's portrayed. Is it surface level? Is it a deeper meaning? Is it whatever? That's the way that it's different, but it's all going to be the same in one way or the other.
One similarity I find between like the two of them is like rap usually tells a story and country music tells a story. So like in rap, they maybe tell a story about how they grew up, or in country music, they tell a story about how they grew up. I think both types of music just always like have a story within them, kind of.
For
no, I like that.
I agree.
Nice. So, okay, as we're kind of winding down with this conversation so you think about all these different things that we talked about. So obviously the chat was a little, or the story was a little loaded when it said pick one. Like, so where do you land when it comes to country and rap? How do you summarize where you land with those two genres? And can you pick a favorite?
I don't think I can pick a favorite, honestly. And I like both of them. So like, since I used to play basketball, I used to listen to rap music before every single game. Like that was what got me pumped up. Maybe I didn't listen to the words, and I never really thought about what I was listening, but like with country music, I listen to that when I'm driving in my car, or when I'm in the shower, or just stuff like that. Like country is just when I'm in like a good mood, stuff like that. But like rap is when I'm ready to go. Like I'm working out, or I'm getting ready for a game, or I'm with like my friends or something, like just hanging out with them. We'll play rap music, just stuff like that. So I can't really pick one because I really like both of them.
Nice.
I think if I had to pick one to listen to for the rest of my life, I'd pick country music. If I think of the one I listen to more frequently, probably be country music. But at the same time, I'm like, oh, there's some good, I don't know. We talked about this at the beginning. There's moods you go through, and you're like, okay, I'm in the mood for some country. I'm in the mood, and not even just like country and rap, bringing in some like pops and like some good jams.
Yeah, no doubt
like
about
there's
that.
always some time for some good jam out time, and so.
I think for me, it's so hard because I've listened to rap for as long as I can remember. I've been listening to it since I was in middle school, and I only started listening to country like maybe a year or two ago. And like Concordia has literally converted me to country music. Like I don't know what happened. I was never like
Wait,
that.
that's so true though.
It was so bad. But I think I would have to stick with
My
rap.
mom said country.
Yeah, I saw that.
Thanks,
and,
Mom.
And also, welcome Keegan and welcome Cash. Thanks for joining us. Welcome Diane. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Miss Diane.
Love her.
But I mean, I like whenever I want to sing or something like that, I sing country. But like I think at the end of the day, I'm gonna have to pick rap because it's what I know the most and it's what I've been with for the longest. So
Awesome. Well, I'm definitely landing in the place of ignorance on the part of rap. So like I've learned there's other things I need to be listening to. I still haven't listened all the way through Kanye's album, even though I heard it was wonderful from so many different people. I mean, again, I started with pop music, which is a little embarrassing, but I think everybody does. When you're a 4th and 5th grade boy, whatever.
what was your boy band?
Boy bands in general were great. I mean, Backstreet Boys over NSYNC back then, but then after a while, you realized NSYNC was much better and things like that. But then there was a band, BB Mac was a boy band that I listened to. But I know all embarrassing all
You
the
strike
time.
me as the One Direction type, honestly.
Well, now, yeah. But like,
Oh, I'm not surprised by anything.
obviously. Well, because I'm drawn to that story. I'm drawn to that. And that's the thing is what I heard from you, Kirsten, was rap's got stories. And I'm sitting there going, oh, I need to listen to this. I love hearing someone's story. I love them expressing their story. I love being able to identify with their story or maybe just hear it, you know? So like I'm drawn to that piece of it. And that's why I've always liked country music too. So I went from pop to Nelly and because Nelly was everything. Went through a couple of Nelly's albums when I was in 5th and 6th grade. And then someone introduced me to Brad Paisley. Yeah.
I was like,
Part 2. I
was like, wait.
His second album was called Part 2, and I listened to it. And at first, country music was an absolute joke. I was like, let me sing with a twang, let me do everything. But what I discovered in listening to it was that story piece. And
Hi, Noah. Sorry.
Oh, what up, Bogey? Noah Bogus. What's up?
I miss you so much.
Yeah, no doubt. So that's where I'm kind of landing is kind of both of these. There's a lot I need to learn, but definitely I love each for their own thing. Well, because even oh gosh, what's his name? The I'm America. Didn't that mention some Jesus stuff in there? It's a rap song. Is it Donald Glover?
This is America.
Oh,
the
This is
Childish
America.
Gambino.
Childish
Yeah.
Gambino.
Wait, in Gerard's class, we dissected
dissected
that
the
song
whole
and
entire
found out
song.
everything.
Like-
So, yeah, wait, I don't remember it now.
It was This is America. It was kind of talking about like what America has come to, and I remember he had a church shooting in his music video. He had a school
Oh, that's
shooting
what it
in
was,
his
the
music
shootings.
video.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
just talking about what America has
There's a
really
lot
come
of
to as a whole.
realism.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a very good.
it
music
included
video.
it included religion, but
Yeah.
it didn't directly say like
Right,
who's
and,
Jesus.
and that's what I love though. I love it even when it sneaks in and stuff like that too. And I think that happens all the time.
Hi, Sam.
So I love the story. I love all that. Sam, what's up? Thanks
Hi,
for
Sam.
joining us. Awesome. Thank you all for joining us tonight. I hope you guys
Hi,
are kind of
Will
landing on all
Will
this too.
Brian.
Thank you guys for joining us. We've been talking about country and rap. I think it's been a fun conversation. I enjoyed having you guys. You guys are naturals. This is really cool.
yeah.
Killed it.
Yeah, I think we landed. We all learned something, and definitely just learning. Yeah, there might be a huge divide, but there's definitely stuff that's worth it on both sides.
Definitely.
And so everybody's kind of encouraged to dive in a little bit more, learn a little more outside of your comfort zone, things like that. This has been awesome. This has been Let's Talk About It. Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. on our Insta Live. We also have opportunities to join us on YouTube Live tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. for Coffee Talk Bible Study. Basically, if you just follow us on Instagram, though, you'll be able to learn all about us. And we're slowly but surely getting our past episodes of this onto YouTube. So we finally, after all these weeks, got number 5 onto YouTube. And this is actually number 14. So we're slowly but surely
This
getting
is
all
number
of these.
14.
Yeah, lucky
Oh
number
my
14.
goodness.
So thank you guys for joining us. You guys make it worth it. You guys made it worth it. Thank you for joining us tonight.
course.
And we'll see you next time on Let's Talk About It.